Anomalous behavior, what looks normal but isn't.
Anomalous behavior can relate to end users or human interactions, machines or applications.
The ability to use computing or resources to identify behavior and scale.
It's important to start by building a baseline of behavior across those three categories and then set up content to be able to determine what deviates from that baseline.
And it's equally important to filter down the false signals in that analysis.
Which is one of the biggest challenges that we have in cyber operations is making sure that we triage the appropriate alerts so that we actually take action on the things that are of greatest risk.
Anomalous behavior analysis is not magic. Takes a lot of work to get it right.
About building the baseline and actually taking action on deviations.
I want to throw in this question that came in from Mike Wilkes, who's a CISO over at Security Scorecard. What's the most anomalous thing you've seen done by one of your users?
Yeah, the legitimate thing, I actually can relate it back to a user on our side who is managing one of our largest accounts. They had to run a campaign, and we had spent a lot of money and time going through HIPAA certification for this customer because they're in the medical space. Because the campaign was at a deadline, they had to get some data over to them. And she walks over to the developer and says, we won't have enough time to get permissions. Just throw the file up on Google Drive and let them download it. Good intentions, but completely circumvented everything, or would have circumvented everything.
How much disclosure do employees need to be given once in an onboarding annually? I would assume that employees know that in general that their user behavior is being tracked when they sign on. Yes, Chris?
I think you would be very surprised. I think some people know. I think that there's large populations that don't fully understand. There's always a little bit of a friction between personal privacy and cybersecurity. I think what's important is to, as a cyber organization, make sure that you have a really clear mission. Most of what I would say we collect is not very intrusive. There are things that people would argue it is intrusive. And as a cybersecurity organization, we're not the productivity police. Like, it's between you and your HR rep and your manager. If you want to go to ESPN.com, for 6 hours a day, you're not exposing the organization to risk by doing that. I care about and will take action on what we do monitor when you're putting our organization at risk.
Phil Wolf says tools for deep fakes and synthetic humans are crossing the uncanny valley so fast. So can anomaly detection models be good enough to detect if people are real?
And there are analytic techniques that will actually identify a deepfake video or a deepfake picture. That's not the challenge, honestly, in my opinion. It's the dissemination and the gullibility of people that are willing to believe something. That's the challenge. And the probably just as big or an even bigger challenge are the channels through which this media or content is disseminated. Take Facebook, right? You have this odd veneer of credibility if you're on Facebook for the most part. And if you see a video there, you tend to believe that it's accurate or true. It's a matter of implementing them and making them available widely across the channels through which this content is being disseminated. That's the challenge. If you think about what the bad actors are doing, the criminals and stuff, they're heavily into automation, right? The way they're hacking is not one person at a time. They're using every technology, every tool set out there to do this at scale. That's why they're so successful. Sophistication and automation. If you're going to have a viable security posture, automation, whether it's machine learning or some form of that, is the future. Nobody's going to be able to keep up with the speed and the scale at which they're operating without some form of automation or intelligence.
Anomalous behavior detection is table stakes for what we do in cybersecurity. And there is a tremendous amount of positive security that you could do with existing investments. I don't think anomalous behavior detection is something that you buy. Rather, it's a collection of data sets that you may already have. So start looking at what you have. Ask yourself whether or not you have the ability to create the baselines that we've talked about today within your own organization. And if you don't, then start to try to go down that path of utilizing technology that's in-house. And if you identify some gaps, that's when you want to look outside for some support.